Today we're going to be working on systems of equations word problems. So we have this set up where first we're going to find the important information. So we have the cost of admission to a popular music concert was $162 for 12 children and 3 adults. Admission was $122 for 8 children and 3 adults in another music concert. How much was the admission for each child and adult? So our important information, we know it was $162 for 12 children and 3 adults. Okay, but then there was another one where it was $122 for 8 children and 3 adults. Okay, so now our last bit of important information is the actual question. It wants to know how much was the admission for each child and each adult. So children and adults. And then how much, that's talking about money. So money for children and money for adults. That's our question. So now we're going to go to our second box, identify our variables and the equations. So our variables, we have 2 different things here. We have children and we have adults. In these types of situations, it's really nice because it doesn't matter which one is X and which one is Y. So let's go ahead and assign children as X and adults as Y. Okay. Now it's for the equations and slope-intercept form part. So these are not originally given to us in slope-intercept form. We have to solve for slope-intercept form, but first we need to write the equations. Our first one, we have 12 children and 3 adults. Think about how I could write that easily. It would look like this, 12x and 3y, because we said x was children and y was adults. Equals, well, we know the total for those to go to the concert was $162. Now for our second equation, it's just our second scenario. It's going to work very similarly to this. We have 8 children and 3 adults, and that was a total of $122. So now that we have our equations written, notice we want them in slope-intercept form. That is y equals mx plus b. So we're going to solve for y. It's going to be 2 steps. We're going to first subtract our x term. Those are going to zero out. Then we bring down negative 12x plus 162. From here, our next step is going to be to divide every term by 3. Those are going to 1 out, so we get y equals negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4x, and then 162 divided by 3 is going to give us 54. That's our equation. Now for our next one, it's going to be the same 2 steps. Subtract the 8x, zero those out, we get 3y equals negative 8x plus 122. We divide everything by 3. Those are going to 1 out, so we get y equals, 8 cannot be evenly divided by 3, so we leave it as negative 8 over 3x. And then 122 can also not be divided by 3, so we're going to leave it as 122 over 3. Here's our second equation. From here, we're going to use the steps that we learned in class yesterday. We're going to clear out the calculator. Okay, and then we're going to use our 2 equations and plug them into y equals. Our first one, negative 4x plus 54. Our second one, alpha y equals negative 8 over 3x plus alpha y equals 122 over 3. Hit enter. From here, now we're going to graph them. Remember, make sure you can see the equations. Wait till this stops thinking. Notice I can't see them. I need to zoom out. So zoom. Option 3 for zoom out. Hit enter and wait. Now I can see the intersection so I can calculate it. Second, trace, 5, enter, enter, enter. See how it says intersection? That's my intersection. So I know that they cross at 10, 14. But this is a word problem, so we're talking about we needed to know the amount of money for children and the amount of money for adults. We said X was children, so it's going to be $10 for children And 14 was our y, so we know it's $14 for adults. Okay? This problem about Sean's grandmother we're going to leave for tomorrow in class. And if you will flip over to the back page, we're not going to do these ones, so please mark these two questions out.